it's Mxiety, and I'm on tonight with the wonderful Advanced Bitches, also known as Elizabeth, and I don't want to mispronounce her name, Elizabeth.
Bitches. Just kidding. Kupferman. But there's no need to ever say it. There really
Okay.
isn't.
All right. Well, we are like on the very, very front of Mixer, so I don't want to be, yeah, I know, it's so exciting. It's so exciting.
That's
So,
nice.
so I don't know how often we can use bitches. I didn't ask them beforehand. I didn't ask.
Oh, we'll just use it that
Shut
once.
up.
We'll just use it that once.
Oh, thank you so
I
much for
promise to do
being
that.
here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate
My
you.
pleasure, of course.
You also, this is going to be an AMA, and the best part is I can screen all your questions. So don't think that just because you write something stupid that it's going to be read out loud. Everything is going to be screened and looked through and all that. And we are going to do an interview first. So we're going to chat with Elizabeth, and we're going to get to know her. And then we're going to open the shoot. Moderators, just so you know. So normally the way this works is we have people ask questions as the stream goes. Because there's a ton of people here right now, we're going to kind of pull back on that a little bit, and we're going to start asking questions a few minutes in. Once we get into the flow of things, yeah, that's really it. Thank you, everybody who's here. I appreciate all of you. So my name is Mxiety. I'm a mental health advocate here on Mixer. What I do is I interview, I'm pointing in the wrong direction. What I do is I interview professionals and people who live with mental health conditions. When I'm not doing that, we have mental health discussions. When I'm not doing that, we do yoga or we're gaming. So welcome. Find a cozy seat.
Cool.
Elizabeth, tell us about yourself.
Oh my goodness, where to start? Well, now that I'm thinking about my language, because usually what I say is,
You can say whatever. No. Say whatever you want. One time.
We're
You're
good.
fine. You're
We're
fine.
good. So for the world, I would say like, oh, I'm Elizabeth. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I teach women advanced personal growth work in my private practice.
Okay.
For people that know me from social media, they know me as someone who only has her master's degree from an educational institution.
Oh, I don't want to hear the only. It's
No.
not only. Okay.
But
Go on.
I have a PhD in being effed up.
Oh.
And so that's my, so that is
I love that.
my thing. I love talking about anything psychology, which is why I'm so grateful that you have me here. I could talk forever and never stop, and I would just be so happy. But I like to talk about it from my personal perspective, and so in doing that, I have basically told my whole story, including recovery from an eating disorder that pretty much ruled my life, childhood trauma. I am an introvert and a highly sensitive person, so I teach about that.
We know all about highly sensitive people.
Oh, good. And also, our what our trauma responses, and of course, the tried and true anxiety and depression.
Oh, anxiety and depression. That's like almost, the greatest hits kind of situation. Just
Yes,
yeah,
it
you
really
gotta
is.
play them all. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me to have you on. And
Oh my
for
gosh.
such a big occasion, we are on Mixer's Streamer Life, which is to honor Mental Health Month. It's just getting to know your streamers better and spotlighting just people being people and doing their best. And I think that's what mental health is about. We talk about the fact that mental health is everything and everywhere that you can think of. And so here we are. So first and foremost, I want to talk about, there's all the links. So if you guys are not following Elizabeth, get on that right now. She's on every freaking platform, so I don't want to hear any excuses. I love this concept. So on your TikToks, you talk a lot about fawns. Can you elaborate on that? So what is a fawn?
Absolutely. Okay. So a fawn is a response to childhood trauma. So
Okay.
when we have childhood trauma, we've all learned, Psychology 101, if the bear comes, we're either going to fight the bear or flee the bear. So we're going to, one of the, and our body responds. And so it's overwhelming to our system. So we do one of the two things. And then later, I don't know exactly when, maybe sometime the early 2000s or late 90s, they came out with a third one, which is freeze. So freeze mode
Ah.
is when you, like a deer in headlights, freeze mode is when you kind of check out mentally. So you can't, what if your mom is the bear? So you can't run from her and you can't beat her up, but you can
Right.
survive by kind of checking out mentally. And some people do that through addiction. Some people do it by through process addictions like perfectionism or, oh my God, sorry.
I wouldn't know anything about that. Go
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Yes. Or, being super busy, so it's a way of checking out mentally. And
Mm-hmm.
it's also known as dissociation. So if
Mm-hmm.
people dissociate, just kind of mentally check out. Okay.
Right.
So then over in the last year, I read some of Pete Walker's work on complex PTSD,
Okay.
which is when it's complex because it happens in childhood and there's like no one thing. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
broad
Right. Right. Right.
overarching, yeah, trying to survive. And he came up with a fourth F, which was fun, and it blew my mind. It kind of, even though I had worked and I had actually worked on this a lot in my own therapy, I called it something else before I found the word fun. I called it Santa Clausing.
Oh, is that because you're just holly jolly all the
Yeah.
time?
Well, yes, and also like, what can I give you? Can I give you a present? I'd love
Oh,
to
can
give
I
you
give you
something.
myself? Can I give
Yes,
you my
yes,
dignity? You can
exactly,
have it all.
exactly,
Right. Right.
exactly,
Right. Right. Right.
exactly. So the fawn is when it's extreme people pleasing in order to survive. And two
Mm.
things happen when you do that. Number one is you don't learn words, like you're trying to impress and fawn over the adults that to keep you
Oh.
alive. So
Mm-hmm.
you're taking care of them. You don't have any more needs, so you have to take care of them now in order to survive. There's no room for you. There's for your ideas or your desires or your wants and your needs.
Right.
And so what tends to happen, so one of the things that he said, that again, it was just like, I cannot believe I'm reading this, is so good, that in toddlerhood, he uses that word because we often talk about childhood, but he says in toddlerhood we learn to extinguish the word no. So we don't have it. It's not in there. And so then of course, we
Mm.
grow up and says you should say no. It's good to say no and set your boundaries. But actually don't even, we
We
haven't
can't
even
like
uttered the word.
comprehend that. Right.
Exactly.
Because
It's
it's
like a
not
foreign
something.
language.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the other part of that is, so if that's true, then that also means there is no self. So there's no self. And that's why people, it's hard to do self-care. You're you're yelling at me to do self-care, and I don't understand what that is. You're
Right.
asking me to have self-worth, and I don't know what it is, because any word that starts with self, I'm not going to have it, because I've always been focused externally on
I don't know
making
what
sure.
self is. Yeah.
Right,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh. I
So
went through a
self-care.
huge crisis over that. Yeah.
Yes, and you have to actually learn to have a self. And once you do that, like the first one in is the self-knowledge. And one of the things
Mm.
that I talk about is, how it's like, well, where do you want to go to dinner? Oh, I don't know. Where do you want to go? We literally don't know. We literally
Right.
don't know, because we don't
Right.
know what we like. We don't actually know. And also to make a request to do any of that, where like, it's terrifying for us. It's vulnerable. We were never allowed to do it, but now all of a sudden I'm an adult, I'm supposed to do it. So that fawning has really just accelerated my personal growth this past year. It's been really incredible. And I'm so excited to see more people talking about it, because I had never heard of it before.
So is this something, and let me know if you're like, no, we're not going there. But is this something, so this is something you've experienced yourself? This is something that like lit a light bulb because you're like, I'm a fawn. Holy guacamole.
100%. And
Okay.
it was, and also there is no, we're not going there.
Oh, okay.
That's my brand. We go there. You know what I mean? That's what we do. Then that's
I
why
just
we're
had to
here.
check. I
No,
just
I
had to
know. I
check. Okay.
appreciate it. I
Okay.
appreciate
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Whew, okay. So yeah, so like I said, I had already been working on that issue in therapy. We were using another word for it, but once I saw it in writing from another professional counselor, um, it really helped me to teach other people. You know, it really
Right.
it gave the words, and the word fun is so great. Like it's just so perfect for it, and it's another F, and so it really, instead of me just talking, let's say I was doing social media and I'm not, I hadn't read that, I would say stuff like, it's like, what's your Christmas list, but every day or something. You see what I'm saying? But once
Oh
once I
my
learned of
God.
the fun, it enabled a full conversation about it, a way in. And the thing is that fawns recognize themselves. So a lot of people are saying like, um, oh, this is me. I'm so glad to have a name for it now. And so that's why I think it's so great is that he coined that term, because I think people are really able to look at that in themselves and recognize it in themselves. And a lot of the feedback I get on Instagram and really mostly TikTok is like, oh, you make me feel like I'm not crazy or there's something wrong with me. You
Oh,
know what I
that
mean?
feeling of like brokenness that a lot of us have because we
Yes,
can't put a name to something and we know that something's
exactly.
wrong. We're not feeling the way we want to
Yes.
be feeling and we're like this is off. This is where do I
Yeah.
find an answer to this? And you give them that answer. That's beautiful. Oh my
Well,
gosh, I love that.
me too. Like it's so huge. And that's how I felt. And I'm just happy
Right.
to share it, in a way that actually fits with my personality. But yeah, people are really, it's just so cool. I swear, when I was brave enough to get on social media like a year and a half ago, I thought maybe like 10 other weirdos like me were in the world, and that would be great. And that would be great because it was really about being able to express these things as my true self, put that out there, be brave and do that. And I didn't know there were so many of me out there. So it's just been so rewarding for me. And so, I don't feel alone. Doing advanced personal growth work can feel very lonely because it's very
Mm,
hard and most people don't want to do it.
right.
Most people don't want to, they can't, or they're just not interested. And and so to find so many people out there, just because when you're on your own, which is how I've been doing this whole
Right.
time,
Right.
it's like, oh, I've got to set my boundary with this person. And
Mhm.
sure, I could talk about it with my friend, but now to know, like, oh, and somebody even said this to me recently, like, I said no for the first time to a request. It was just like, we're doing it, like we're doing this together, like we are doing it, and we're not alone anymore. We know someone else is like us.
Wow. I
I know.
literally, I can count the times probably on two hands. Maybe I can write them down. Maybe there's like 15 times that I've said no in my life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And one of them was to my abuser. And that no, I will remember for the rest of my life because
Oh,
that
yes, you
changed my
will.
life. That changed my
Yes,
life. Yeah.
absolutely.
They were demanding like so my abuser was my stepmother and she was demanding that I come home and clean the house and I was saying that like I'll just do it tomorrow, it's okay, I'll just do it
Right,
tomorrow, and she said no, you're coming home now, and I was like no.
right.
And that no, like I felt it reverberate through the state of New Jersey.
Yes, yes. And also, it's that sense of like, did I just say that? Did that
Yeah,
come
yeah,
out of
yeah.
me?
Oh
I've had that
totally.
too. It's
Yeah,
like you learn and you learn and you learn, and then the day comes where you can say, no, no, I'm
yeah,
not doing that. And that's
yeah.
yeah, so huge. It's such a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So, you guys, I do want to open it up to questions. We still have a ton of time, so don't stress. Don't stress. I'm screening all these questions. I'm not just going to ask her stuff that you put in. So please don't waste anybody's time by putting in stupid crap because it's not happening. It's just not happening. Okay. So the what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open the queue, and the queue is exclamation, the letter Q, and then followed by your question. Please try to keep them short because if they're too long, I can't see them all, and then it's hard to catch them. So try to keep them as concise as you possibly can, and we're just gonna go from there. So you started a tick. What in your world was like? I'm a licensed counselor. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start a TikTok. Like that, I've been so afraid to
I
start a TikTok. So I would
Oh
love
my
to hear.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Well, it's kind of maybe an obvious reason to a lot of people, but I do you know Gary Vee?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. He wouldn't stop talking about it. He was like, you have got to go there. You have got to
Okay.
do it. So he was saying like, you need a TikTok and a LinkedIn. That's where the attention is. Go, 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 go. And
Oh,
I'm just like, oh,
LinkedIn.
that's
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Me too. I already hibernated my LinkedIn account.
You started it. You
Yeah,
start that
exactly.
thing with like all that excitement,
Yeah.
then you're like, oh no, oh no,
Yeah, yeah,
no,
no, no,
no,
no.
no.
I don't know that I belong here. And so TikTok, and when I opened it, I was like, it was just like, because I have been singing my whole life. It makes me laugh because it's like, singers, popular singers will say
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you sang in the mirror with my hairbrush. It's like we
Uh-huh.
all did that, but it's
Yeah.
just like we all did it, and me included.
Yeah.
And you just got famous, and you have a really good voice. I do not, but I did that, and I've been singing and embarrassing my kids and dancing, and and music has saved my life, and so it's very important to me. And somehow it's like click, click, click. It just clicks with my brain. And it's effortless.
You
I mean,
could
it
you could
truly is
tell.
effortless.
You could tell when it's
Yes.
like just right, because you come up with stuff and I'm like, that is the most brilliant way to explain that I've ever seen in my freaking life. By the way, I'm posting
Oh,
those links again. This happens all the time with stuff that you post. She
thank
recently
you.
posted about like, hey, like I wish younger me knew that I'm doing okay now, and my heart melted into a puddle because
Oh,
I wrote an essay like a little bit back when I wrote an essay to myself 10 years ago, and I
yes.
cried so much writing that.
Wow.
I'm a very sensitive person, so I
Me
cried no matter
too.
what, but like I was
Yes.
bawling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you ever done
absolutely.
that? I don't know.
Yeah, like it in different kind of ways, because you do all kind of stuff when you're in recovery. You got to write, you got to do all the things. You got to say all the things, you got to do all the things to, clear it all out. And but I really feel, and I don't mean to be woo woo. I just mean, and I don't even know how I mean it, but
Oh, just say it. Just say
a
however you want
part
to
of
say
me,
it.
thank you, a part of me feels like, just when I think about the past me, the wounded me, the broken me, the
Mm-hmm.
lost me, um, I just feel like I'm the one who came to take care of her. Like I'm the one who came to rescue her. We're the ones we've
Oh,
been waiting for.
right.
And that I, that I don't know how, but it's just like I feel like maybe she survived because I'm sending her all this good energy, and she's getting to be, I'm getting to be my full self now on the planet, which I never was
Oh,
before. And it just somehow it just clicks for me. It just, and it feels very rewarding, and it feels very healing. It's so
yeah.
healing. It's so
Yeah.
healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this has been super healing and like self-discovery
Yes.
for me as well, this experience. So I get where you're coming from, where you find what you feel like you were meant to do this whole time. The
Yes.
confidence that comes from that then
Oh,
everything. Like you could just go full steam ahead with
yes.
everything else. Yeah. All right, we
Absolutely.
have a ton of questions already, so
Awesome.
we're gonna go ahead and start. Do you feel comfortable disclosing any mental health diagnosis to your clients?
Okay, so that's a great question. And this was one of the things I had to come to terms with a couple of decisions before I got on social media. So my first
Mm-hmm.
account was Instagram, and I just really felt this thing in me. Like I really want to talk about all of this stuff, and also
Mm-hmm.
just, not just outside my office. I mean, not just inside my office. And I don't really know how to do that. So I'm just going to kind of start with this Instagram account. But I
Mm-hmm.
had to come to terms and set a boundary with myself to do it. We were taught that, as a counselor, don't have a Facebook account, don't have any of this stuff. Like you
Right.
can't, because you want to, you don't want your clients to find out these things about you. Well, I knew for me to talk about this stuff in a way that made sense to me, I was going to have to obviously be authentic with it. Like it's really the only no, to self disclose. I do self disclose in my sessions, but not my diagnoses, or, I don't go in there. It's like, I'm really depressed today, but let's do your session. It's not that. I take care of myself in the best way possible to show up to be the most amazing therapist I could possibly be. But I had to come to terms with two things. One, for my family to be, if they find it, they're going to be really mad about it. And I could face, consequences from that. because I'm going to tell my truth.
Right.
And the other one is I might have to close my practice. Like once, if my clients find, and it's not, it was, and I wasn't
Right,
keeping
right,
a
right.
secret from them, but like when they find it,
Yeah.
they may be like, thank you,
Right, right.
bye. I'm
I've
not
read so many
interested.
stories about that clients are just
Yeah,
like, I don't want your baggage. Like
exactly.
there's a weird like putting on a pedestal of counselors that like, oh, you must
Yeah.
have it figured out and that's the only way that you can help me, and that's obviously that's not how life
Fortunately,
works.
like it's one of the first things I tell my clients first session is the reason I'm good at this is from all my years in the client's chair. Like that's what makes me good at this. And so they already know that part because then, because I'm, the real deal. I'm somebody, I know what it's like to be in a dark place and I know how to get out of it. And that's what I'm going to help the other person do. It's not about like, I'm not fucked up. Oh, sorry, not effed up, And so I was ready for my clients to say like, oh, this is too much, or that it would
Right.
start to interfere, like, like, are you having a bad day? I saw your TikTok. Like I was just, and I was surprised to find out that, and I
Sorry,
didn't think I was going
one
to get,
second.
yeah,
I'm
go.
so sorry. So my dog keeps
Please.
barking because the window's open and he hates birds. So if I
Oh,
close
bless
the
his
window,
heart.
if we close the window, we won't
Yes.
have this dog in the background going, buh, buh,
I
buh.
kind of like that. It's so
No,
sweet. Oh,
rude. That's
goodness.
rude. That is
Oh,
rude.
goodness.
That is rude. Now you have to come here so she could see you. Who's
That's right.
interrupting her interview? Who's
Here
interrupting the
you go.
interview?
Oh, it's okay.
Look, a little
It's
McNuggy.
okay.
He's watching the
Good,
birds.
good.
He can see the bird.
So cute. So sweet.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Please
sorry.
don't
Okay.
apologize. No, this is I mean, I love this. I love it like this. This is so cool.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay. Okay.
so I thought my clients, if they found it, they would quit. And then I also thought, oh, well, this is the end of new clients. No one's gonna obviously want to work with me after this. And it wasn't even like 2 months before people wanted to start working with me because of my TikTok and because of my profanity and because not TikTok, but Instagram and because of all that. And the same
Right.
thing through TikTok.
Right.
Like I could have as many clients as I want. Like it's just,
Amazing.
I know it
Yes.
is.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes.
It's so good. But because people are looking for the real deal,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. People are done.
that's,
People are done with people pretending that they have their ish together. They're
yes,
done.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
think that I, among many others, there's lots of amazing therapists on TikTok and on Instagram, and I think that we are part of, you know, we're what's advancing our profession. Other people are advancing it in other ways, and then we're advancing it this way. And the world is different. The world is, there is an expectation of not, not every counselor needs to self-disclose like I do, but that
Mm-hmm.
I think there is an expectation now that there are some on there that do. And I'm noticing it more and more every day. Like I see, my therapist says or whatever, is
Mm-hmm.
it has champ on Instagram and people are just like, just telling their stuff, like just putting it on out there. So I think it's awesome.
My therapist, so my therapist is a huge reason why I started this, because so I've been seeing her now for 7 years, and probably for the first 5 I was like, one day I want to write and I want to be able to make stuff, and she's like, just do it.
Yes.
No, I can't do it because I'm
Yes.
stupid and I'm lazy
Yes.
and I can't do it. And she'd be like, just do it. And then so we'd go through these, and then I finally, I had a catharsis and I did it, and then I was like, will you come on the show? And she's like, no. And
Good.
so like,
Good, good. Oh, I
oh
love
man,
her. I love a good boundary.
I know,
Yeah.
that was exactly. She's like, listen, I will root for you all you want. She watches the
Yes.
shows. She'll talk to me about like, I can't. You
Oh,
talked about that, and I beam and I get all excited, like like finally get
sweet.
approval from mom. It's really
Yes,
exciting.
yes, yes, yes,
Totally
yes.
not putting a mom figure like thing
No, no,
onto my
no, no,
therapist.
it
That's
happens.
unhealthy.
No, no, actually it's not. But it's not like that. It's just
No,
that it's nice
yeah,
to get mothering from anyone. Even
yeah,
our dogs,
yeah.
like we need it.
Yeah, listen, we get it where we can. If you don't get
Yes,
it from the first
exactly.
source, you get it where you
Yes,
can.
exactly,
So the
exactly.
next question I feel like is a nice segue from this.
Yep.
Video Game Diva asks, what is the first step to someone working towards personal growth?
Okay, so she can know that she's already taken it. So she's taken it before
Yes,
now.
she
I know
has.
and I also, just by asking the question, you're taking it. And so people ask me all the time, like, what does it mean to be, am I an advanced BITCH? Like, am I, can teenagers be? And the whole thing is like, the only requirement to being that is that you want to be it. You already are. And so, people attracted to you and watching you, that's somebody, if they are watching you, they are doing their personal growth. That is personal growth. They are growing, they are learning, they are changing, they're learning new things, their minds are open. And so what I always say to everyone is, then just follow the thread. So if you, for instance, like us talking about this, now that there's more therapists on TikTok, maybe you go to TikTok and maybe counselor and do a search or whatever. Or maybe we're going to mention a book we might mention a book, I don't know, but or another source, and somebody might want to go to that. I mentioned Pete Walker. So if somebody's a fan, they might think, oh, so I just say, follow the thread. Just follow the thread of what the next thing is. And you are doing personal growth. And I bow down to you.
Oh, by the way, Video Game Diva is like my best friend in the entire world, and she's the sweetest person. She is one of those people. She's definitely advanced. Okay.
Oh,
she's
yes.
one of those women that lifts other women up, that sees a woman who's doing well and doesn't go, oh my God, this is threatening to me. She goes, how do we both go up there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love her so much. Yeah, she's a huge reason why I'm where I am. She's amazing.
That's incredible.
So I'm very excited we got to answer her question. All right, so once you've asked one question, you can only ask one question at a time. But once you've asked one question, you can ask another one. I mean, we will eventually close the thing, so you can't be in an infinite loop. But yeah, just letting you know. All right, so I8Floki81 asks, what's the best way to deal with an anxiety attack?
Oh, okay. So this is actually your answer, because it's not my area of expertise. What I always tell anybody with anxiety, I think of it as like, you know how they say sleep hygiene. So if you want to sleep better, there's these things that you have to do.
Right, steps you take before you sleep.
Screens and exercise and all this. Like, it's a list of like 10 things. So if you're having sleep issues, it's time to like get clean on those, just go down the list and maybe your sleep will get better. And I think of the same thing with anxiety. Like, if you know you have anxiety, that there are just bottom line, baseline things that just have to be a part of your life. And walking at least 30 minutes a day is one of them, just to kind of get that, just work through some stuff. And if there are many, if there are more attacks, it's time to get a therapist with that as her expertise. And just read about it again, follow the thread, like, and just whatever the steps are. So it's like, if I have anxiety and I'm looking that up and I'm like, okay, walk 30 minutes a day, I can say, this is probably what I would say. It's like, oh, that's so stupid, how is that going to help anything? But I have to go do it anyway,
right,
and then try that. And then it's not, okay, what is this other thing? Oh God, meditation, I don't want to do that either. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I don't have a choice, because we all have something. Like, we all have our issues.
We do. I say that all the time.
We have physical issues. We have, the way that our mental issues show up with us.
Just baggage we carry around, an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend who treated us poor. Like, you carry that around with you for the rest of your life. And it doesn't, it might become a full-blown thing, or it might be just something that you see somebody who looks like them and then you treat them differently. Like, everybody has something. There's nobody out there that's like 100% clean slate and you can talk to them. No. And so because people do talk about that a lot. I feel broken, I feel less than, I feel like I can't, whatever it is, because of my mental illness. And I'm like, it is hard to admit that I have a mental illness, therefore I don't get a choice. I have to drink that water. I have to exercise. My depression isn't going. My depression isn't going anywhere, but I have to do those things if I want to be a functioning person.
Exactly. And I do that with my depression. When the depression starts calling, it's like, okay, let me get my list out. Like, this is the stuff that if I do, I know I will feel better. I don't want to do any of it and I hate it.
I don't want to do any of it. No. Even though I love like, one of the things is like, go walk your dog. I love walking my dog, but like, I hate walking my dog because I have to walk my dog.
Exactly.
Right.
it's always these things that no one has ever said in the history of time, oh, I'm so mad at myself, I exercised yesterday. No one has ever said that. Like, we
No.
always feel good about what
Right.
we did, you know. So and the magic comes in where it's like on the fourth you have a list of 10 things that you got to do, and the fourth
Yes.
thing, like, it just lifts.
Yeah.
And what a gift. And sometimes you get that on the first thing.
Yeah. We
But
we
yeah.
talked about that. It's your list of things that make not like the best day, like ice cream and water parks, okay? Like
Mm-mm.
what makes a good day? Like when you had an average, I felt okay today day, what are some
Yeah.
things you did? You write them down and then you basically try to recreate that. So whenever you're not feeling good, you go back to that list. So I see people being like, the list is a good idea. It's a great idea. It is like top thing that's helped me just in
Yeah,
general.
and you just have to have it, and it's yours, and you'll have it
Yes,
for the
your
rest of your
own.
life. Yes,
Right.
your own, and you have it for the rest of your life. And I also want to add in there, so definitely do what she said, like, definitely go down the list of what your good day thing, and also do your research. Like, also look, what
Yes.
is the Mayo Clinic saying? What is, Harvard, whatever, saying? Like, well, what's the latest research on this? Let me
Yes,
see
from good
your
sources.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
peer-reviewed
Mm-hmm.
journals. Like, what are they saying that actually does work? And do
Mm-hmm.
that. And you don't have to do them all, but at least you know. And then if your good day list doesn't suffice, it's like it's time to go to the tried and true research things. Again, we just it's our responsibility. None of this should none of this is our fault.
Just go.
None of
Just say
this,
it. You go.
I know, I'm sorry. None of this is our fault, but it is our responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right, Frenchy Fry asks, how do you recommend starting a self-care kit or starting to practice self-care for anyone who's new to it?
Okay, so I don't know about you, but I've spent all these years reading these women's magazines, and it's talking about bubble baths and manicures. Like, one time I was going to go get a manicure. Oh, remember manicures? Those were nice.
That's so
Um,
depressing.
I know, I know,
Stop.
I know, I know, I know.
Okay, go.
So he's like, oh, I'm so glad you're going to take care of yourself. I'm like, this isn't fun for me. Like, I have to do this to be like a functioning woman in society. Like, I have to,
Right.
it's not self-care to me. That's not, I mean, it is taking care of myself because I'm, taking care of my grooming or whatever, but it's not like, oh my God, I feel so good. It's not that for me. And so, but for some people it is. For some people that is their magic time, or they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this lifts me. And so the thing about self-care is it has to come from the self. And it's
Yeah.
hard to do self-care when you do not know yourself. So what I would say is, to start out, it's like, try different things, whatever. Like, again, we can find probably 200,000 blogs on this topic,
Oh my God.
about
Yeah.
self-care. And just like, but some of the things that resonate, that's like, if it feels like work, like, meaning it's like, oh, I love a bubble bath with candles and the stuff and and it's like, I will never take that bath because I'm never going to Lush to get the stuff. I'm never gonna,
Right.
like, get all the candles out. I'm too tired.
Right.
And so I feel
Right.
like I'm failing my self-care. I'm
My
failing my bubble
self-care.
bath. And I don't even like baths. You know what I
But
mean?
you're
So
not,
it's
it's because you're failing somebody else's self care. You're not failing
exactly,
yourself. You're failing what
exactly,
somebody else tells you self
exactly,
care is. So, and I've
exactly.
talked about the fact that like self care could literally be going to the bathroom when you need to pee instead of holding it in.
Beautiful. I love it. I've never heard it that way, but that is exactly what I'm talking about. And I just want to say about gaming, like, gaming is if you enjoy that, that is
Amazing
your
emotional
self-care thing.
regulator. Hmm.
Amazing. I do that with TV and really, like, old lady boomer games. Like, we just need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to, instead of like, oh, I should get off this or whatever, like, oh no, maybe you need that today.
Yeah.
Of course, keep your eye on it, because anything that's, too
Don't
much,
do
then it can
anything too
just,
much. Right.
it'll switch over to isolation or whatever. But we all know when that happens,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a follow the thread thing. And I finally, for me, figured out, well, I have two more things to say about that. So for me, I found out that how you are doing enough self-care is if you walk around in the world cared for. by you. That's how we know. How do we know we're doing self care? Well, we should feel cared for. And people like, those of us who don't have a self, those fawns, we were called selfish or whatever when we did. So it is uncomfortable. But, I gave a speech once and it was like, we talk about we know our children need care, we know our
Mm-hmm.
pets need care, we take them to the
Right.
doctor, we give them baths, we whatever, we know everything needs care, and we're not like, oh, that dog is so needy, oh, that dog is so selfish that it needs that care. And here's the thing, we even say lawn care, like we're better at taking care of the dirt in front of our house than we are ourselves. Like, how
Oh
is it
my
that
God.
that's a
I'm being
mis
attacked. I'm being attacked.
oh, I got you. It's okay. It's okay. You're so cute. Oh my god. Oh, um, so that it really is about saying, hold on. We never we don't experience this dissonance when other things in our life need care. Our
Right.
house needs care, our apartment needs care, like it needs
Right.
care. We never get offended or disgusted. But with us, it's like, oh, now we've reached the one thing that doesn't need care. And so that's a piece of work that you do. And then the other one is, again, if you're doing enough, you will feel cared for in the world.
I love that. I've been telling people that, like, if you you will know that you're doing self-care if you can care for more people, because a lot of people feel like self-care and selfishness are one and the same, but
Yeah.
self-care is maintaining yourself. And if you are
Yeah.
the kind of person that's very selfless and likes to do things for other people and likes to make sure the world is happy, you got to do stuff for yourself or you can't make everybody else happy. Because if you're not taking
Okay.
care of the more people, the more you take care of yourself, the more people that you can help. So if you
Okay,
feel
let's be
rejuvenated,
rebels.
let's do
Let's
it.
be rebels.
Do
Let's
it.
be rebels because I just want we are okay. So my problem with what you just said, which I love you, and
No, no, no. I love this.
yeah, is
Give it to me.
notice how the first thing you started talking about is taking care of others when we're talking about taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Fawns automatically will think that, and if that's what it takes to get you to start taking care of yourself, great. But notice that you use the word selfless. Selfless. I don't have a self. That's fun.
All right. I'm being attacked. I'm walking out of this interview.
You
This
know you
is,
did contact me. You know
I
you
know.
should
I
have my
reached out to you.
yes. I'm
I
gonna give
love
you a
you.
hug.
I love. No, I love.
I love you too.
Oh,
I love you
my
too.
baby. You're so. This is wonder. You know, I'm told we're on the same page. This is
I know.
absolutely
I'm just
wonderful.
busy blowing your mind. That's
Okay,
all.
good, good. No, but I'm playing along. I'm playing
No,
it.
I
You
know
know.
you're being amazing,
Okay.
but
Okay.
so isn't that sorry? Isn't that
Don't
interesting?
die. I
Okay,
can't
here I
have you
am.
die live.
I can't
I
move around too
can't.
much. But this is how we find out where the wires are crossed. This is how we
Mm,
do it. It's like right in the middle of it. It's like, oh my gosh, the word selfless. Right. I'm not even supposed to have a self.
mm.
And that when I do self-care, it's for other people. I know that's not exactly what you were saying, but
No,
that
I
is
like
one
that
of the
you're
things that
dissecting that. Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that we, fawns do is turn
Mm-hmm.
our self-care into care for other people. And so I'm saying, let's be rebels. Let's do it differently. I
Let's do
just
it for
watched,
ourselves.
yeah, I just watched that documentary on A Secret Love on Netflix, and it was about these two women that had to hide their love affair. They're in their 70s and they just got married. Sorry, spoiler alert. But one of the ladies said, and I was just writing this to get ready to post on Instagram. She said, someone says, you broke a lot of rules, because she was one of the like a league of their own baseball players, and she did a lot in her life. And the guy said to her, like, you really broke a lot of rules. And she says, yeah, that's why I'm happy. And so I
Ooh.
want to break the rules. I want to break the rules. I want to be so audacious as to just take care of myself. And it is true that, I mean, I learned this with my husband. Like, when I would do something not with him or whatever, he's like, go, go. I'm so excited because you get back and you're so happy. You know what I mean? That's how
Yeah.
so it does impact them. They win. But and I'm just saying this at 55 years old. Like, I'm not doing it for them.
Stop. I know you just threw that out there, but like, there's no way that's your age.
Yeah,
Okay, go
it
on.
is. No,
Continue.
that's it. That's it. But I want to be. I've been a fawn my whole life, and I want to try to be a little bad. I want to try to be, a little rebel,
I love
and
that. I'm going to use
do.
that attitude. The reason that I adapted what I say is because I have had somebody literally come in here and I don't know if it was a he or she, were
Yep, 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 yep.
arguing with me back and forth. They're like, but I just want to give. I just want to give to other people. I just want to give. And it was just like repeatedly over and over. But I'm a
That's
giving person.
code
That
for
makes
I'm
me
a
feel,
fawn. I'm a
yeah.
fawn. I'm a
Yeah, but I could,
fawn.
but you
I'm a
can't say
fawn.
that to
No, you don't.
somebody. You
No,
can't
no,
be
no,
like,
no.
listen, you fawn.
No.
I'm gonna tell you. You sit down and you take care of yourself.
Exactly. And they can't, again, it's not our place, but as far as
Right.
me not getting hooked by them, because and just for future reference, you can just say, and that's your choice.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you don't have to do what I'm saying. Like, it's not, I'm not attached to
That's
it. Like,
that's
it's good
fair.
for me.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Not like I have control issues or anything, so that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But I heard this a long time ago. There was this woman who was doing advice, and she had a caller, and the caller said, hi, I'm just trying to find my passion because I really want to help people. I want to help them. I want to give to them. That's all I want to do. And it's the first, I mean, it was one of those moments where you're listening to Audible or something, and then you just like to have to grab the counter because you just heard something like that just blew your mind. And she goes, you know that for you to have your dream come true of helping others, that you are basically wishing that other people are less well off than you. That you have to have your ego stroked by reaching down and helping other people that need my help. Because I was shooketh, because I was like, because I have thought that before, is that I wanted to, quote unquote, help people. And it turns out that actually is not helpful to people. It's actually helpful to, like you said, like not on a pedestal, like someone else. And it's just about like, I have these things. This is what I do. I don't know if it'll work for you, but if you want to try them, that's great. And I do that in my office. I don't say it like that, but I don't want to help people because I found out that it didn't work. I just, it didn't work. And
So
so
what do
I
you want
just
to
decided
do?
to,
Yeah.
I just let to be myself, to be fully myself, to show up, show the F up, I want to say it there, but to show up in my life, to actually get to live as me in this lifetime. I mean, again, it just gets better. And then other people around me, they're shining because, me shining in my life, and not because like people like me or whatever, or follow me. I don't need that. I'm that for myself. I follow myself, and everything just gets better. And that's why I say, when you do advanced personal growth work and you never stop, you get to live a magical life.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's so
it's magic.
beautiful. So you
Thank
just,
you.
and then by extension, I'm a fawn in learning and training. So
Me
then by
too. Yeah.
extension, you are helping people just by being yourself, and that just
And they
happens.
get to decide that if that happens. You know what I mean? It's not up to
Ah,
me to decide it. And
right.
also, I'm never going to look at anybody and say, it's so egotistical for me to say, oh, that person needs help. Like, who, what am, how do I know? Like, what am
Right.
I, you know what I mean? And it just
Right.
helps. But for me, I had to find that out before I could relinquish the fawn. Because if
Mm,
anybody was telling me this stuff earlier in my life, because I actually thought it was my mission to help everybody else. Everybody I came in contact with, I thought I was there for one reason only, and that was to make sure that they were okay, and to help them, and to give, just to basically
your
let
purpose
blood
is
for
to give
them.
to others. Yeah.
Exactly. And what that did was it made them less and made me less. It didn't help anybody. And it's condescending too.
It
Like,
is.
oh,
Yeah, it's assumptive that like nobody can function without you. Like how dare you? How dare
right.
you? Right.
And so it really helps unlock the fun in us, because we're like, oh, that person needs my help. Oh, wait. wait, I remember I did that work where actually I found out that that was a belief that I had that ended up not to be true.
Hmm. Hmm. We have more questions that we have to
I'm
get
ready to
through.
go. Yep,
Oh
yep,
my
yep, yep.
god, we have 10 more and I closed the queue because that just kept coming. Okay.
That's so neat. Thank you, everybody.
Oh my gosh. Somerset Joycey asks, how much does diet play a role in person's happiness? Many thanks.
To what place?
How much does diet play a role in a person's happiness?
I do not know the answer to that question. As a food addict, I
Mm,
thought it was playing a lot into my happiness, but it turned out it was contributing to my misery. But I definitely think. I mean, I eat a different way now. I eat, really healthy or whatever you want to call it. I'm on a food plan, and I know that I have my thoughts are I have more clarity of thought. I'm more, than when I was just constantly binging on sugar and tons and
right.
tons of processed food. Um, but yeah, I think you could Google that and got way, 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 way better answers than me.
I think they were trying to get to, like, there is a lot of research. What I want to strike right off the table is people will be like, if you have a good diet you don't need medication, and that's what'll take you off
Uh,
terrible pharmaceuticals and all that. And
yeah,
please don't come off of your medication just because you start eating kale. Just don't do it. Talk to your
yeah,
doctor. Eat kale and take the medication and then tamper off of it if you and your doctor decide to do that. But yeah, eat the kale anyway, but don't do something stupid just because you feel like there's a pressure in the world
yeah.
to not
None
take
at all. There's
medication.
no pressure, no pressure.
Yeah.
And I think really the best answer for that is I'm guessing that that person may be, thinking of a certain plan or a certain way of eating, um, and I would say start doing your research. Try it.
Yes.
See if you
Yes.
like it. See if it's
Yes.
helpful. See how your skin looks. See if you have more energy or less energy. And then try. And then if that's not it, then try. Again, follow the thread. Try something else. And but
Mm.
everybody's different, and things that work for one person work don't work for another. Like again, I have an eating disorder, and if I could
Mhm.
fill my this room with other people who have that disorder, and we probably all eat completely differently. It's there's
Mhm.
no one certain way to heal.
Yeah. Oh, I
So
love
yeah.
that charged light bulb. If you try it, you either get what you want or you get more information. Exactly.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Yes. Also, be very careful of natural remedies without consulting your doctor. Some of them react with medication. Yes. Yes. Charged light bulb says he's quoting Elizabeth.
I know. I didn't want.
Oh.
I didn't want to. Still thunder, and anybody can say anything that I say. But yeah, exactly. Advanced bitches get. We always win. We always effing win because we either get what we want or we get more information.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay, one more time, ask Earth Rumbus. Who was it that coined the term fawn? Thanks.
Pete Walker. And so all you have to do is Google Pete Walker and
Pete Walker.
Pete Walker and the word codependency, and you will get
Yes.
a great, 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 great article. It will blow your mind. I'm so
Codependency.
excited for you. Fawning is a kind of codependency.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Top zombie dude asks, why can people be so mean?
Oh,
I'm not sure what you mean. Please rephrase your question. I'm gonna ask you to rephrase your question if you're still here. Okay. Any tips? Magic Daven asks, any tips for people who want to relearn themselves and regain their personality?
oh, I know we lose it. We lose
Yeah.
it along the way sometimes
Yeah.
when we're wounded.
Yeah.
It really, I, obviously I'm going to recommend therapy because, you're really there to, you learn things about yourself from what you express, but then you have another person there that can help you see things, your blind spots, the thing that you might be missing. And so that has been the most important way that I learned about myself is through
Mm-hmm.
therapy, years and years and years of it, still in it, always will be in it. I love it so much. It's so helpful. Because I have a lot to work against. and so I have to keep going. And plus, I think it's just great for a therapist to also have a therapist because it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're
Mm-hmm.
modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was the question?
Any tips for
Sorry.
people to relearn themselves and
Oh
regain
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
personality? Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I like going back and thinking, what did you like? So if you like to draw in the fifth grade or something, maybe you do that. Maybe you just watch some, shows that just go back in time and find the cartoons or whatever you were watching back then, and just kind of like just try to pick up the things that you and then you can see, well, how would this fit into my life now? I don't like this, but if you, I mean, this is dumb, but like this kind of animation or this kind of game, or I was so happy when I was on roller skates or whatever it was, and just start to, because there are clues all along the way of what you were and how you were. There were clues
Mm-hmm.
all along, and yeah, and honestly, the other way is just trying things, just trying it. So it's like paper or plastic. I don't know, is what happens in my mind, and I say paper, and then I bring them home, and I'm like, I mean, I know we're not supposed to do plastic anymore, so pretend that's not an issue. So I get home, paper. I don't know if I do like. I don't know if this is my favorite. The next time you go to the store, say plastic, and now rate yourself. Which one was better for you? Now you know, and so it's just practice. And now you know that you never have to ask yourself that again. And then on to the next, on to the next, on to the next.
Yeah. That was, I remember I had this like huge crisis when I was 24, when I was like, I don't know what my personality is because I've just been trying to please people,
Yeah,
namely abusers, for so long. I don't know what I
yeah,
like. I don't know what I want. I was in a
yes,
job
yes,
that I was told that I would have to go to, like I was told that
right,
I would enjoy it. And yeah, I'm so sorry,
yes.
Frenchie. I'm gonna try to copy your question, honey, so that I can. It adds to the queue, and then we're closing the queue, guys. I'm so sorry, cause yeah, yeah, cause there's a lot. Um, but yeah, I remember that moment, and I cried so much because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know who I am,
Oh
and
gosh.
I figured it out, guys. I'm here, and I feel like I have a good, strong grasp on it, and you can too if you dedicate time to it. Yeah.
Would you want to hear a quick story about that?
Always, please.
Okay. So I went to treatment for my eating disorder back in the day. And so I had a nickname when I was little, but then so I would tell, every year my name's Elizabeth, but I was nicknamed Lisa when I was born. So every year you go to school, and that they'll say Elizabeth, and then you just raise my hand, and then I'd say, um, oh no, that says that Elizabeth there, but my name is Lisa. And so until the fifth grade was the first time I had three teachers. And so the first one was super nice. I did that whole routine that I did every
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, okay, great. I'll mark it down. Then I went to English class, and she
Mm-hmm.
says, no, this is English, and we will use our full names. So I was Elizabeth in that class. And then in the third class, oh,
Okay.
there's too many Lisas in here. You'll be Liz. And so then I made a solemn vow, I'm never going to tell anybody my name again. I'm just going to let them call me what's on the sheet. So
Mm-hmm.
this happened throughout my life. And
Mm-hmm.
and then inevitably someone will nickname me, like someone will just start calling me
Sure.
Liz or whatever, and all that. Okay,
Sure.
so I went to treatment. I was Elizabeth, signed in as Elizabeth. And then at some point we were doing something on the board, and then somebody started calling me Liz, and so I put that name up the thing. And so one day I walked into the therapist's office, and she says, I have a question for you. She goes, what would you like to be called? I don't know.
Oh
I
my
don't
god.
know. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even know my name. I did not even
Oh,
know my name. And I mean, I thank her so much for that question, for spotting that. So spotting the fawn in me, how easy it's like, oh no, no, whatever's best for you to call me. That's what I want to be called. And so after that it was just like, oh, I know who I am. I'm Elizabeth. And
this
so
this hurts. This
but
hurts so much.
yes,
It is so
tell
close to
me, tell
home.
me, tell me.
Yeah, so anxiety, a lot of people can't pronounce anxiety and they go
Yeah.
amixity, mixity, a lot of stuff. So then I like M. I've always liked M, to the point when I first started writing, I named myself Emily. Just so, yeah, that was my pseudonym. So I like M. She's my favorite badass character from the Bond series, right? Like everything about M, Madonna. M is a great letter.
Oh, you just gave me chills.
So I always wanted to be called M. And I remember the day where I stood up for, like, people were like, okay, so Mxiety. And I was like, just call me M. And usually people would roll with it. And then I encountered somebody who was like, yeah, but what's your name? And I was like, it's Marie, but that doesn't really matter because I'm asking you to call me M. And I remember that moment, but I also remember being like, is this okay? Oh my God, this is not okay. They're going to flip out there. And they were not okay with it. And they called me Marie. And that's totally okay. And I want to make this clear because people are going to be freaking, my audience is going to be like, but we call you Marie. It's okay. Marie or M is 100% fine. My preference is M. It's 100% fine. But I remember the moment. It was also, it was somebody, it was a therapist who's a friend of mine who's not my therapist, but happens to be a therapist. That was like, no, what do you want to be called? And I was like, well, if you have a problem, because M is just one letter, you could say Marie. No, what do you want to be called? M. He's like, so you're M. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good, so good. Isn't it fun? Like, oh my gosh, I think we all probably have some very similar stories about that, and I bet every one of us who do are fawns.
Yeah, we're all fawns. That's just kabosh.
That's just
all right.
a done deal.
Wicked Smile asks, how can I deal with confrontation when my go-to response is avoidance or freezing?
Oh, yes, you're a freeze mode person. Bow down to you. I am one too. The trouble with conflict and becoming okay with conflict is because it was dangerous to have conflict and growing up. Conflict is dangerous for us. And so that is how we freeze. And so it is a process. I recommend therapy for this because, and also I've never met a person, although I haven't met a ton of narcissists, but no one likes it. No one likes conflict. No one does. And so, and we all say it's like, oh, I don't like conflict. It's like, no, that's everyone. Like, but there are people who love to fight. So I'm not talking about them, but what was the question again? I'm sorry.
You're fine, girly. You're so fine. How do you deal with confrontation when your go-to response is avoidance or freezing?
Yes. So it is about going slow, going to therapy to get the tools on how to do it. When I teach my clients about, like, okay, let's try to start setting this boundary. Sometimes the way I explain is here's how it's going to happen. Because, we'll be talking about it and the person's excited. This is exactly how I acted. The person's excited and says, okay, I'm going to go set that boundary. And then what will happen is the conflict will happen and then they will totally forget. And then maybe like a week after they might think, oh, I should have said that thing. Oh, I forgot to use that. It doesn't come to them in the moment. But then you keep practicing over time, getting to know yourself, being comfortable with yourself over time. And then you might have the conflict. And then 2 days later, oh, I fell for that. Oh, I should have did that. Like it's getting closer. And then the day will come where it'll be just right there for you. It takes practice and it's learning. And it's about, trying to be conscious. And it's also about, for me, it's also about learning dynamics because there are going to be people in our life that are prone to have conflict with us. And so it's about me paying attention. Like, for instance, a bait and switcher. So it's like, I want to go out. Let's go out, honey. Let's go out to eat. Let's go have a great time. Let's go out. And then I'm ready to, I get dressed, ready to go. The person comes home and he's like, why can't I have a home cooked meal? Like, what? Like, what? And so that's
spoiler. That's one of our TikToks. Spoiler.
Yes.
I saw it.
Yes, it is. Yes. So the bait and switcher is, that was the remix. That's funny. That that they're going to do that.
Yep.
what you're doing is wait, because a bait and switcher cannot help but be a bait and switcher. So when the next time they come to do the bait and switch, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be ready with the tools. You'll be
Yes.
ready to do it. And so it's just about learning, and it's hard and everybody hates it, and I'm sorry you have to do it. Freezing though, the main thing about that is just compassion. So much self-compassion,
Oh.
because
Mm-hmm.
what's happening is it's ancient wiring in us, and we're asking ourselves not to be human, and
Yeah.
so it's just a learning process, but so much gentleness. And if you don't know Guditama, and if you have not watched his YouTube videos, he makes us feel amazing about being a freeze mode person. Do you
Mm.
know Guditama?
I don't. The name is really ringing a bell, but I can't place them. I
he
can't
he's
place it.
he's one of Hello Kitty's friends, and
Oh.
he's a lazy egg. I'll show you a picture.
Oh, wait, I know Gudetama. Oh my gosh. Yes, I was like, this is ringing a bell. Oh my God, it's the lazy egg. When we went to Japan in the Hello Kitty
You saw
store,
you
there was
saw him.
literally a quarter of the store was dedicated to him. There was a bus with him on it. It was a little toy bus that had him on it. It was
I'm
wild.
full. I've got chills all over me as you say this. So, Guditama came into my life when I was going through a really tough depression that I could not get myself out of.
Oh,
And I was. It was around Christmas time, and I was. My daughter likes Hello Kitty, so I was on the website getting her some stuff, and then I just saw this. I saw
yeah.
Guditama, and it says the lazy egg, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm a lazy egg. And so I just started
I
like
love
looking, and
this.
he's so cute. But the way, he will say, he will be home, and he will say, I want to go home. Like he loves the darkness. He loves the darkness of a shell coming down. Like I relate on a very spiritual level with Buditama. And
Oh,
from that moment forward, I never felt shame about freezing, and I never felt shame about the amount of, laying down on a sofa just binge watching television when
that's
I need it.
amazing. First of all, I'm
He
very jealous.
he
Uh,
eradicated shame. You got to the videos are just like, oh my gosh, they're just incredible.
I
He's
am
so and he's
obsessed with
so
a
funny.
Gretzko. A Gretzko is my
Yeah, yeah,
favorite.
yeah, 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 yeah. I love her too. Yeah, I've got her around here somewhere too. But yeah.
She is that's my spirit animal. I have her
Oh,
all
she's
over. Well,
incredible.
at my work desk, so I haven't seen her in a while, but at my work desk I have like two versions of her. One
Yes,
where she's
this
like super cute and
nice.
ready for work, and the other one she's like
Uh-huh.
rocking out. And yeah,
Yes,
and I
yes,
whenever I'm mad
exactly.
I look at the rocking out one. Whenever I'm like have to be nice even though I'm not, like I look at her for her and for inspiration, being like I have to be cool. I have to look collected right now so I can go
Oh,
out later and do
yes.
that. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. I love
Oh
it.
my god.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
That's amazing. Okay, 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 okay. I love that you brought up Gudetama. My heart. My heart. How do you decide that behavioral counseling was a profession you wanted to focus on? As Stride Cipher.
Because I'm effed up. And so I
Mm.
didn't know what I once wanted to do. There are nurses and tons of nurses in my family, and so I thought that's what I was supposed to do, and that is like a great career for a fawn. And then being in therapy so long, I realized as I began to know myself, like, oh, this is what I want to do. Like I know how to do
Mm-hmm.
this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm also an INFJ, and so
Mm-hmm.
if you
Oh
look
my
up that
god.
Myers, are
I
you?
think that's the same. Hold on. I think I have it on a note because I can never remember it, but I think that's the same one that I am. I think so. Sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, no, no. No.
I'm ENFJ.
Yeah,
ENFJ.
I was just about to call you on that. I was
Okay.
just like gonna say like, no, no. I meant in the best way, because I'm like,
No,
I
no,
sense,
you're fine.
I
I
sense
didn't
that
take
you
it.
you might be a on the more extroverted
Oh
side.
yeah, yeah. It
But you,
hurts.
so I have two kinds of clients. I have two kinds of
Mhm.
clients. One are introverts like me. I
Mhm.
mean, these are the people who I attract. So introverts like me, or extroverts who are highly sensitive. Those are my
Yes.
people. Yep. 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 Yep.
You
So
found one.
I did. I did. We found each other. Okay.
Mhm.
So I, and so again, if you look up my Myers Briggs, one
Mhm.
of the top choices is counselor. Like that's just what it says. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have always, my entire life, I called it, I'm able to read the subtitles. So I'm able to see if somebody says I'm fine, I can read the subtitles like, no, I'm not fine at all. And I had to turn that off because I thought something was broken in me. I thought that was wrong. I had to shut that
Mm-hmm.
down
Mm-hmm.
because obviously the adults are the ones who know how they feel. So I should just take their word for it. Come to find out that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just, it was just a meeting of all these things. And also I had the eating disorder thing. I waited until I was, late 30s, early 40s to get my degree because I really wanted to heal that. It felt hypocritical to, I mean, I just knew I was never going to sit in that chair and binge and purge. Like, I'm just not doing that. That's horrible. Like, I would never, I have to be real, and that recovery has to be real. So all of those things ended up together, and I, you know, when singers or actors or whatever say like, what would you do if you weren't doing this? They'll say, oh, I have no idea, and that's how I feel about this. Like, this is me. Like, this is who I am, and I'm just really really good at it for lots of different reasons, but mainly because I can read the subtitles, and I can I have been in the chair for so long. I know what that journey is like, and I know what it takes to be advanced.
Oh my God. God, I love you so much. You're just like so cool. You're
Oh
just
my
so
God.
cool. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
All right, five more, five more, five more.
Okay, let's
Six,
go.
six.
Let's
I
go.
have one more that's offline. Okay, Taito Magatsu asks, what things are you looking forward to seeing in the future of psychology and therapy? Oh.
Okay. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really interested in what what the whole online thing, how the coronavirus is going to impact our
Oh God.
profession. Are people,
Mm.
are people going to go back? Like, because once they find, I read an article the other day that said, now that the corporations are learning that their staff can work from home, maybe they don't need the real estate anymore, and
Yeah.
so it's like maybe they need to stay at home. So I think that might be something in the counseling realm. I know I always really want, my plan is always to have clients. Like, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
want, because
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole, like, that's a whole magical thing in and of itself. And for me, in person is magical. And the connection is awesome. Certainly works over the telephone and Zoom. It's
Mm-hmm.
working.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested in that, and I'm interested in how the ethics are involved, and the boundary setting and all
Yes.
that. I'm a research. I love research. I love the new studies. I'm always fascinated. And so I just think it's going to be, just it's just so neat. The medications for things that weren't able to be controlled before can come, and that's the kind of stuff, because I guess it's because it's just like more people again will get to live fully as
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And I also think that maybe the therapy from home will also be like more affordable. Maybe more people can
Yeah.
access
Yeah.
counseling. And yeah, so that's what.
Yeah. There is a huge, I feel like, awareness of mental health that didn't exist before. I
Agreed.
mean, May being around helps because May Mental Health Awareness Month, but also just in general, people are like, hey, like people have to confront the fact that they have mental health, period. That mental health is not something that they could just pretend doesn't exist. It's that it's part of their body just as much as physical health is. So many people, I feel like, we're unaware, and we're looking around and going, I feel really nervous and sweaty and out of
Yeah.
control. And what is this
Yeah.
feeling? And I'm like, that's called anxiety. And I've been talking about it
Yes.
for a while now. I'm really happy that you can now join us. Come take a seat. Come take a seat. We talk
Yes.
about this all the time.
You
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
chair right here. You earned it. Yeah. And I think, isn't it interesting? And I think things are changing in a great way because of the awareness and all that. But isn't it interesting if you said like, oh, I don't need to, grow my body. I don't need to, work out. I don't need to have muscles. I don't need to have flexibility. I don't need to have,
Yeah.
like, we would look at that person as like, that's not going to go
Okay.
well. That's not going to go
Okay. I
well.
mean, you
And
can
so,
do that, but let's see where that goes. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and our psyche is the same way. It's like we but people don't think of it like there's a large part of the population that doesn't think like that. Like, I maybe I wouldn't have had I not had, a reason to, I couldn't stop putting my head in the toilet. So I had to get
Girl,
helped.
we are so much the same person. It
Oh
hurts
my
me because
God.
I don't want to be like, oh my God, an eating disorder. Like, totally me too. But that's what's happening. But that is what's
Absolutely.
happening. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Binging and purging was how I took control of my life. That was how
Yes.
especially if I ever was upset, that was my like go-to to
Oh,
feel better.
absolutely.
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Everybody's got something. That's ours. We'll
That's
claim it. We'll
ours.
own it.
That's
Yeah.
ours, boo boo.
Yeah.
Okay, so Drunken Tiger asks, "How does one this might not be your area, and that's okay. And I want you
Yep.
guys to get the
Yep.
research you need. But how does one
Absolutely.
reduce OCD impulses? I feel like that's a really in-depth question. That's for a therapist, really.
Yeah, and again, that's not my area of expertise. I that's so what I recommend is, get a therapist. And again, this is just a fine time to have one.
Mm-hmm.
I would look at what the DSM criteria, DSM-5, that's the diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorders, and look at the criteria of that. And so maybe you have already had a diagnosis, and if that's the case, just again, that's the stuff that's going to have the latest research, like things
Mm-hmm.
like that, and like CBT is very well researched. And I would like to say like it's probably like one of the best things for OCD, but I do not know that. So, but yeah, that's that. And you don't even want me to answer that. Like you really
Well, there's
want
just
the
somebody
person
out
that,
there who's
yeah,
more, yeah, whose area of expertise it is. It's like
yeah,
coming. I mean, people think like brain means you know everything, but it's like
yeah,
coming to a mechanic and being like, "Can you fix my bicycle?" Like, I mean, he
yes,
probably can. He can figure it out. It's also got wheels and stuff, but
yeah.
like, there's a guy who fixes bicycles who'll just do a better job at fixing your bicycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And like, so I only work with women, and yeah, I've had men ask to work with me before, and I have a couple, but I just learned like I just know about women's issues. I just know that. And
Yeah.
and so and then
Yeah.
I had one person that was really offended and mad, and
Hmm.
he wrote me this really long letter.
Of course, they
Of
always do.
course, really long letter about how horrible I was, that I didn't work with men. And I called him, and I said, "Oh, I just wanted you to know, like, I'm not qualified." And I said it would be like asking an eye doctor to look at your knee, your broken foot or whatever. Like, it's just not. I'm not the right person. I'm not the expert. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sure you are.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Hmm.
so you don't even want me to even attempt an answer. And I have to say, I find it refreshing when professionals say like, "Oh, I don't know
I don't
that."
know.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. That was Neil deGrasse Tyson taught me the value of I don't know, and I own it so well. Oh God, that's me praising myself, but I own
you
it
need to
now
be.
of
Yes.
like when I don't know, and you can suck it because I'm not gonna pull something out of my butt because you want to hear an answer. And because for the longest time I had this like notion that people don't trust people that say I don't know. And there is like, right, we follow people, the bigger people with big followings tend to be the people that are like, you go and you do this and
Yeah.
you go and do this exact thing and that'll solve your, like, nobody wants to hear I don't know. They came to you because they want an answer. And so I was like, I'm going to get all the answers. And then I was like, you know what? No, I don't know. And I'm not going to pull stuff out of my butt to make you happy.
Yeah, and for me, it's just not even authentic. And
Right.
then I would feel like if anything that I say, it'll just be um, maybe not even right or helpful. And people know, again, they know when you're the real deal and when you're not. The good
Mm-hmm.
thing is, I don't feel bad about not knowing something because I know a lot about other things, you know.
I don't
So,
know. No.
yeah. And
Storm.
I'm sorry I couldn't answer it. I'm
No,
sorry for the
I think
person,
it's
but thank you
okay.
for
I
asking.
thank you, Drunken Tiger, for asking that question. Okay. All right. This question is $1 million. Like if you were on that millionaire show, this would be the question for $1 million, and you don't have
Yeah.
four options to choose from.
But can I phone a friend if
You
needed?
can phone a friend, but your
Okay,
only
okay,
friend is me,
okay,
so too bad.
okay, perfect. I'll call you.
All right. Storm 5567 asks, "How do I stop thinking so much?"
Ooh, we'll try this. Um, don't think about polar bears. And
Oh
we're all
man.
thinking about polar bears. We can't help it. Our psyche just hears it. And so and maybe you're talking about overthinking, but I think you're thinking the exact right amount that you need and should be thinking. Like
Hmm.
you're having the exact number of thoughts that you should be having. Like and but what tends to happen is the thoughts can be like, oh, I made a mistake, and then I'll have to go through this litany of I should have done this or done that, and then we just like want to put our hands over our ears, like I can't, I wish I could stop thinking. And so I think for me, it is for me to just embrace, like, we have this brain, like we have this is our brain, this is the brain we got. And the brain, it will just throw out, constant thoughts. And what has helped for me is to um, really pay attention to the negative thoughts, really pay attention to my dynamics. So for instance, if I think, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I'm stupid. Okay, well, so I'm not, that's one of my boundaries. I'm not going to call myself stupid, and thank goodness it's completely lifted, because I think I'm brilliant now, which is great. um but brilliant in being me and the thoughts that I think. But yeah, so it's about, a lot of times when people talk about that, it's just because the thoughts are so mean and so negative to ourselves. So I think it's follow the thread and start to get to work, and start to differentiate the thoughts of which thought do you want to keep, which thought do you want to give away. And my guess is that it's the negative thoughts that you
Hmm.
want to rid yourself. And that is what cognitive behavioral is. That's why that's the word cognitive is in there. That's thinking. And so and you, if you do that work, on the other side of it is that you won't have to think that you're having too many thoughts, and that'll be freeing.
Yeah. I think say people who say you have too many thoughts are just dismissive people who are like, "Wow, you're really
Agree.
overthinking that." That is code for I don't know how to respond to you anymore, so you need to stop thinking these things.
100%.
Usually, sometimes like
No, it is.
I have had my husband be like, "Are you overthinking this?" And that's a very different thing than like you're just overthinking this,
And I
right?
do think it's a button. I do actually think it's a button. I
Mm.
think even if it's asked to me nice, it's going to push my button. Because I don't say, I've been, I was told that my whole life, too intense, to thinking about it
Oh
too much,
yeah.
quote
Yep.
unquote, reading too much into it. And it's like, excuse me, again, that's my brand, like that's who I am. Like, how do I like, you're asking me not to be me. I see what I see, and I'm not going to deny what I see. But yeah, overthinking is an insult, and then it becomes an insult to ourselves. And so if someone has told me, I need to stop overthinking, and then I ask somebody else who might be an expert on negative thoughts or whatever, I say let's go back and examine that first claim. Like, are you overthinking? In my opinion, no.
Hmm. Hmm. Somebody asked a great question in the audience. First of all, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Dr. Fu, I appreciate it very much. I don't want you to feel ignored, but there's a lot going on. And Elizabeth, I'm like enchanted by Elizabeth's words. So, uh, but
Likewise.
aw.
Yeah.
How does one know? I have to pull a question from the audience because we do have a little bit of time. Just a
Yep.
little bit
Yep.
though.
I'm ready.
Okay. How does one know the difference between sadness and depression? And I feel like it's a quick answer. I feel like this is a quick answer.
Um, that is actually an interesting question. Sadness is a feeling that lifts, and a lot of again, this is just my personal experience. This is not like from the peer reviewed journals or anything, but if I'm sad, I feel like I can name it. I know what's making me sad. I can, I'm grieving in a sense. I'm one of my areas of expertise is a grief counselor, and
Mm-hmm.
so the question is often asked, what's the difference between grief and depression?
Mm-hmm.
And with grief, the world feels poor and empty. This is a Freud quote. The world feels poor and empty. To depression, I feel poor and empty.
Mm,
So
that's it. That's hitting the nail on the head for sure.
yeah, and so a thing that you can do, just that, to get a real quick answer to your question, is Google depression. Again, I really like, I think it's helpful for us to
Google
look at what
Scholar. Google
look
Scholar.
at the criteria. So in that book it says, like, you are you have this issue, you have panic disorder if you meet these two things and then you do these two things. You have bulimia if you do this,
Mm-hmm,
this,
mm-hmm,
and then
mm-hmm.
you do it this number of times a week or whatever. I think it might be helpful to look at that, what, and also there's a depression assessment, so you
Right.
can know for yourself. It's like, oh, I actually am depressed. Like, this is like you said, Google Scholar assessment from a journal. I may be depressed, and then also, like, oh, I'm meeting a lot of this criteria. And so I think it's just helpful, so then we don't have to be scared, yeah. And yeah. And so then if it looks like a possible one, maybe it's time for therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't just self diagnose yourself and then do nothing about it. Do the second step, the therapy step.
Yep.
Okay. Just four more. Just four more. Just four more.
I'm
Okay.
great. I'm great. This is awesome.
I love you. Okay. Saint Pope Pius X asks, what do you think about the shortage of mental health workers and lack of federal funding to help improve the situation across the country?
It just makes me sad. I
Yeah.
mean, there was a time where I, didn't have any money, and I went to, like, there was a community center for counseling, and it wasn't the best, but it was something. And I don't even know what's out there now. I think I think it's heartbreaking. I think that a lot of us are, the walking wounded. I think a lot of us are. And there's class issues, and poverty, and it's just so. And I try to be really careful online, to make sure I'm making those mentions. Like, it's just, I do say, like, go to therapy a lot. Well, that
Mm-hmm.
requires money, it requires time, it
Right.
requires, sometimes it requires insurance, and so I don't want to ever, I just, it's just so hard. And when that, you know place that I went to way back when, I found books, and I found, I never stopped. But now we can actually follow people. Like, we can follow people, like, people are showing up
Right.
here, right here, right now.
Right.
And it's not therapy, but it is educational. And for me, a lot, because I am smart, a lot of what has been helpful for me is to understand. Oh, I understand why I'm like this. This is very helpful to me. Maybe I was still, for years and years, still beating myself up for it, but at least I understood, and I just kept, and I never stopped. But yeah, it's very sad. It's heartbreaking. It's scary. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't able to go to therapy. It's just, I mean, my life would be ruined. Like, and I
Yeah.
would be barely surviving it, and I may not even be here, and if that was the case, if I didn't get to have that. So
Yeah, I know that for a fact that is the case with me. Yeah, therapists literally saved my life at one point. Yeah.
same, absolutely.
I don't, this might hit a little bit close to home, but Nut, I can't pronounce the rest of their name, so we're just going to call them Nut, Nutt. What is the best way to survive a toxic mother who makes you suicidal?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, it's just, it breaks my heart. It makes me so upset, to know that there are people still stuck in it, of different ages. Um, but the one thing I will say is that I'm really particular about my language. And
Mm-hmm.
so the first thing that I just want to and I'm saying this to be helpful, and it's because it's helpful for me. It's helpful for me to have my autonomy, that someone can't make me suicidal. Someone can't make me upset. Someone can't make me depressed. They don't have the power to do that. When we live in a toxic environment with a toxic mother, it feels like that. It feels like they're making us. And to want to be out of pain makes sense, to get, that's one of the things that suicidal thoughts do for us. It's just like, it's a way to get out of pain. It's a wish to be out of pain. um but when I say that to myself, because I could have said that about myself at one time in my late teens, early 20s with my mother. It would have been helpful for me to understand that she is this way, and my feeling for me to know that someone can't make me a certain way would make me feel more empowered. So because like I said before, it's like these things that have happened to us, are the CPTSD, that's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. And I'm going to say to you, it's your responsibility to survive this. You have to survive it. You have to do whatever it takes and never stop. I mean, just you showing up here again, I'm honored. It almost brings tears to my eyes. We see you. Like we see you. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. It's still teen rated. We're on teen rated. So it's not like, so it's not like there's like 8-year-olds watching you. If you say a word, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you. But just for you to be here with us, and then also to be vulnerable enough to ask the question and to put it out there. And I'm sorry you're in so much pain. We're in so much pain when we have those thoughts. And so please, next step, like I would love for you to, what is your next step to get support, to tell somebody that you're having these thoughts, it's, and honestly, sometimes I don't know, because I know that some of the people that follow me on TikTok are younger, like they're still living at home, and I almost like am afraid to give any advice.
Right.
Because what I work with adults, because at the end of the day, they make their choices. And if they make a choice, the people who are around toxic people that they're related to, that's not their choice. And if they did something like set a boundary, they could say, well, there's the door. And so we got to keep you safe. It's just, for me, it's the most important thing that that, again, that we see you, me and MCU, and we it sounds like we both have been there. I definitely have been there. And so it's just figuring out how to protect yourself as much as possible to get out. And if you can, talk to a therapist. I mean, you're not at school anymore, but like this is a very, very hard time. And I think it's a very hard time for mental health issues in general.
Yeah. That was, if I could talk to myself in the past, it was just, it was just hang in there. Just hang in there. I promise everything that you are building for yourself, that you hope for, that you want to get away from, you'll do it all. You just have to hang in there. And I remember that is actually very similar to what I used to tell myself, which is like, I'll get out of here. I'll get out of here. I'll get out of here. And sometimes that's all you can do. And I there's a lot of strength in that. There's a lot of strength of saying, this is not okay. I'm not okay with this. And it's going to happen on my terms, even though I don't have, it's not necessarily my say, but it's going to, everything I can control, I will.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Be kind to yourself is my motto right now. Don't, Wisney, that's it. Yeah. Meet yourself where you are. That's one that I've been saying a lot. Okay.
Yes.
Two more questions. Ready. And this one was asked. I brought the tissues because this one was asked. Video Game Diva is asking another question because she knows. She knows. So I don't know if you follow me. So my big thing is Twitter, right? So I recently
Okay,
released a
got it. I don't
video
have a Twitter.
about,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. So it was about
Sorry.
how I compare myself and stuff. And
Yes.
so Video Game Diva is asking, completely unrelated, I'm sure, to that. What do you advise someone who falls into the pit of comparison and, quote, jealousy of others around them succeeding and feeling like we don't measure up?
Love that question because, okay, so I wrote the Advanced Bitchifesto, and there's 20 things on here and just 22. Um, I've added two more, but one of them is that it is our responsibility. Hold on, where is it? It is our responsibility to decline the participation of the inner saboteur. And
you can't just do that. No, you can't just be like, no, not today. Well, you can.
Yes.
You can. I'm playing along, but like you can.
Actually, no. You're right. You're correct. Because what you resist persists, and it goes back to that thing about don't think about polar bears. So that's why it's worded the way that it is. We have to know the difference between. I need to know the difference of me and my inner saboteur, inner critic, super ego, whatever you want to call it. It's easier for me just to say inner saboteur. My inner saboteur also includes my addictive brain. So the part of me that says, no, you're hungry, even though you ate, like you're hungry. Right. That's my inner saboteur. I know the difference now. And so that's why we, instead of resisting, that's why it doesn't say resist, just tell the inner saboteur to go to hell in a handbasket. It doesn't say that. It says we decline the participation. So it is about because those are the thoughts that goes back to the overthinking question. Those are the thoughts from the inner saboteur. They will push us up against the wall and take us over. And so when I compare, it is a very human, normal thing to do, to compare. Like that's part of our evolutionary psychology, is that we've survived because we compared. And
you look around and you say, okay, they're doing that, I should do more of that. They're doing that, oh, I don't want to do that. And then you go and you gossip with somebody and you go, hey, the two of us don't like that person because you're doing a lot of that. And then there's a lot of mixing that happens, and then that ends up being terrible for you.
Yes. And so and any of this stuff, which is why you're very similar to me, of like, you asked me a question, it's never going to be a straightforward, easy answer, because that to me doesn't exist. And that has hurt me in the past, of people telling me, self-help people telling me that it was just as easy as that, and it wasn't. So it's about, it truly is for me, it's like, oh, I'm doing that thing again when I compare. Oh, I'm doing that. When I first got on social media, so I'm pretty good at this in my normal life. So it's like, ooh, when I found out this person was going to do that, I'm like,
right. Keeping up with the Joneses. It's very different online. It's a different level of keeping up with the Joneses, right? Like you can look at somebody and be like, wow, they have a nicer car. And then you're like, but I really like my car. And then you move on. Like, I feel like I can move on, right? But then but then I look at the digital space and I'm like, this person is spewing out toxic garbage and I'm just trying to make the world a better place. And how come 40,000 people are following them, listening to them spewing toxic garbage, and I can't get X amount of people, like whatever it is.
Exactly. So so almost immediately, and not to a dysfunctional sense, but I wasn't enjoying it, and I didn't like it because I had pretty much given that up, and got really good at it, got advanced of not comparing, because I actually have a tool for comparing. So I can tell you that after this. Okay. Remind me the tool.
Okay.
So when I first got on Instagram, I was hooked by the follower count. I was like,
you look at it all the time. You look at back. You're like, oh, one person left. Oh, one person came back. Okay, two people left. Oh my God, what did I do? What did I say? Did I sneeze?
I gave myself a restriction. I'm like, oh, look at you. Because for me, that's a regressive brain exercise for me.
Oh, totally.
I'd healed it. So when I'm like, oh, I'm totally getting hooked by the followers. So went for a while because I had to work on it. I had to say to myself, like, that is irrelevant. You are doing what you said you wanted to do. You're expressing yourself. You're talking about this stuff in the way you haven't heard it talked about before. Like, I'd have to like do this work, and I would open up my Instagram app and like cover the number. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm good. Every now and then it'll fall off. Like it just happened recently. I saw somebody that started after me and they just had a meteoric rise or whatever.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that because my inner saboteur is paying attention. It's waiting to
Mm-hmm.
find the thing that'll hook me back into the old ways of thinking. And so my inner saboteur saw that happening, and then I'm like, all right, Elizabeth, you gotta work on that. You gotta, for me, it's so important that I do that work that I will say, I have to get off social media if I can't do this. Because I'm not going to
Yeah.
live this way anymore. I'm not going to
Yeah.
get hooked by things that I have no control over, you
No
know?
control. Zero.
Um, you want your tool?
Yeah, I
You
want my
want,
tool.
okay.
Yeah, I want my tool. I posted a
Okay.
2-minute video on this, and I have a tool that I recommended.
Ooh,
So
ooh,
we
ooh,
can
ooh.
exchange
I
tools.
love it.
I don't
Oh,
know.
oh, oh, oh.
I don't
Okay.
know if you're interested. Go ahead.
I am. I want to hear. Oh, I love a tool. Oh, that's my whole thing. We have to use tools because we don't have any. We have to
No, we
learn all
don't.
this stuff,
Yep.
so we need our
Mm-hmm.
tools.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how I dealt with that. And see, this is an example of the declining the participation versus like stop comparing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's oh, I wish I had that car. I
Mm-hmm.
wish I had that car. And then I say to myself, okay, but you have to have that husband and you have to have that job that got them that car, and you have to have their kid, and I don't want any of that. That person
Mm-mm.
is toxic, and so it's not really it. You know, the inner saboteur wants to trick us with, oh, the follower count is not going up, like whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh well, if that person is doing that because they're posting 5 times a day. I'm not willing to do that. I can't do
Right.
it.
I'm
There's no
not
room in my
spending my
life to
time
do that.
doing that. Right.
Right,
Right.
exactly. And so I don't get to complain about a thing that happens for another person when it's not even that I don't want to or I can't. I am not interested in that. It's not my goal. That's not why I'm there. And I a lot of times I have to pull myself back. But so that's my tool. You are not allowed to compare and let. So if you have to want the thing that they have, you have to have everything else of theirs. And I like the stuff that's in my life way more than what they've got going on.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. That's great. And mine is very similar.
Ah, of course it is. All right, I'm
so
ready.
so mine is and this was thanks to my husband. Actually, he pulled me out of myself, where he was like, you have to remember your goals. This person is striving towards their goals and you're jealous of the goals that they have, that they might have not even set, but they're getting there, and
Right,
those are the goals that they have. What are
right.
your goals? And that exploded my brain because I was really enjoying, when you're like in self-pity mode a little bit
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You've
yeah,
like
yeah.
you've done the crying because you're hurt and there's pain, and so you're crying, and then you go into self-pity mode where you're like, I'm still crying and it's been 2 hours and I feel bad for myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I say self-pity, but like sometimes somebody's got to give you pity, and if it's you, it's okay.
Yes, you
Yeah.
get a turn.
Yeah. So, and so that really took me out of it. I was like, I know what my goals are. And he's like, yeah, what are your goals? And I was like, well, I want people to feel less alone and then to know where to go if they do feel alone and scared and like they're broken and they don't belong.
Yes,
And he's like,
yes.
okay, what are you willing to do for those goals? And I was like, well, this and this and this that I'm doing. And I can come up with a new idea, I bet, and this thing. And he's like, all right, so those are your goals.
I
What the
love
hell
it.
do their goals have to do with your goals?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And one of the reasons I like that so much is that it's problem solving. Like it's solving a problem because
Mm.
comparing isn't solving a problem. But
Mm-hmm.
when you can refocus and say, "Oh wait, I remember," and so again, declining the participation. Oh yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, I get it. Like, but actually, my goals are more important than
Yeah.
whatever's going on over there, and it's
Yeah.
problem solving, and that gets, when in doubt. This is just for everyone at any time. solve a problem, solve the
Mm.
problem. Don't complain about the problem. Don't, you know, like you don't, it's
Look for
what is the
solutions.
problem, and yes, live in the solution instead of the problem. So yeah, solve, just pick any problem and start solving it. And that leads to the next solved problem.
Do you have time for three more questions?
I
If
do.
not, it's totally okay.
I
It's
do.
are you
Let's do it.
sure?
I would
Okay.
love
All
to.
right. Ah, okay. Next, the last, these are really the last three because you all can't keep sending them to me.
They're so tempting. It's like,
I
oh,
know,
we
I
just,
know.
because we love this.
All right. So Frenchy Fry asks, when looking for a therapist, what do you recommend we look for in our therapist? Like, what are the questions we should be asking when we first meet them?
Okay. I love this question. 'Cause it's like, oh, good, I finally know an answer. Okay, there's a couple things. So one is
Mm-hmm.
whatever your issue is, make sure that the therapist does that issue. You will look on their website, or you'll look on like a therapist finder, and then there'll be a lot. You Google like, I want to find a therapist in my area, whatever, and so it's like, oh well, that person talks about, you'll right away you'll start counting people out. It's like, oh, that one does that, or that one has a weird thing, or that one has a I had a client one time tell me, and I loved her for it so much. She's like, I went through a lot of looking through a lot of people before I came to see you. She goes, because I could not look at someone's face week after week if I didn't like their face. It's just
I
like,
mean,
that's the
that's
most amazing
fair.
thing. It's fair. It's fair. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I passed your test. Like, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're
No, that
here. I
is.
loved it.
Yeah.
I meant it. I completely agree. I couldn't either. And so right away you'll start seeing people who resonate. So here, then what's next is, again, make sure, if you want to talk about family issues, or you want to talk about anxiety, or you want to make sure that they do it. And
They
most therapists
specialize
do.
in that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. If it's OCD or anything, like more specific, it's better to have an expert in that. But the thing after that is, you cannot do your work with somebody that you do not feel safe with.
Yes.
That person has to get you. You want to have a person in your life that you look forward to seeing, even when it's hard, like that, the stuff that fully gets you and fully accepts you as you are,
Mm-hmm.
right here, right now. And we know when, I really say, trust your gut, because I have heard so
Yes.
many
That
stories.
is that is my suggestion. That is the main
Yes,
suggestion that I have. You hear a tiny voice that goes, "I don't know about
that,
this."
get out,
Let it talk. Let it
run.
talk. Listen to it. Is it
Yeah,
reasonable? Is it like, "Oh, I don't feel like opening up my feelings right now?" Because that's normal. That's natural. You're talking to a new person about something deeply personal. Or is it going, they're not, something's not right. If you feel like something's not right, it's not right. There's no, my
100%.
sister, I'm not about therapists. My sister is trying to find, oh, she's going to kill me. My sister's trying to find a GYN right now. And she's like, well, and they didn't answer my question.
No,
And I don't,
bye.
get out of there. I was like, there's other GYNs. Thank God we live in a very developed country that has a ton of doctors. Go to a
Yeah,
different doctor.
yeah,
No. She's like, but
yeah.
am I asking? No, it's not you.
Right.
You just don't jive. It's the same thing in relationships, right? You don't go, if you're not jiving with somebody on a few dates, you don't keep dating them and going, yeah, but it's just me. It's not you.
Yeah,
It's both of you just
exactly.
don't work. It's okay. It's not anything against you. You're not wrong for not working with this person. I don't think that's answering the
Absolutely.
question. I'm sorry.
No, no, it was a great answer. No, absolutely. Like, and what you're speaking to is like more specific. It's like, you're worth that. You're
Yeah.
worth the extra,
Yeah.
whatever you got to do to find the person that you, like, really, that really gets you, and you'll know. And you might, unfortunately, it's frustrating because when you're trying to find one. But here's what's neat. Here's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote on my website how I talk. I was like very direct, very, put maybe putting a little bit of humor in there, like just my personality. I wasn't trying to jazz it up or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? Somebody would like that, they like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then they call me, and then they're about to find out, is the person who wrote all that stuff the same person that I'm talking to. And
Yes.
then they
Yes.
find that they're like, okay, that resonates. And then they get to my office if they make an appointment. And now they see that in person, all the stuff that she said on her website, in person, I mean, on the phone and now in person is the same person. It's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And each of those things make you feel just a little bit safer. And yeah, I mean, I love my therapist. I love her so
Yep.
much,
Same.
and I truly felt safe with her from the jump because she
Yeah.
didn't, like, she fully accepted me how I was, and there's nothing like that when you haven't had that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's asking a follow up question, which is,
Yep.
but that like, how do you tell a therapist that they're not good for you? Because I'm gonna be forward. I'm just gonna be like,
Oh,
just tell them. But
yeah, and I'm gonna say ghost them. Just
oh,
just ghost. Like, who cares? I mean, they're if they can't handle that, that's their problem. But that's to
hmm,
I don't. And again, we're asking. That's asking too much of to tell the therapist. Like, if I'm going to a therapist because I'm afraid of conflict, how am I gonna have conflict? How am I gonna say this in therapy? Now, that's if you want a GTFO. Like, that's all, just whatever. And you can also say, like, if you want to, like, you can say whatever you want. Like, oh, I'm not going to be back, or I think I'm okay right now, or whatever you want to say to get out of it. But um, but yeah, like, I don't want you to worry about it. But what I will say is, let me give you a little example of something that I have done in therapy. So I dissociate, I check out, and so my
mm-hmm,
brain just does it. I don't do it on purpose, it just
mm-hmm,
happens sometimes. And there have been times in the course of me going to therapy where my therapist will, we're talking, we're jiving, like, we're doing it, and then and then I'll say, like, oh wait, I don't think I've been listening to you for the last 10 minutes. And she's like, great. I think we were talking about this. So it's nobody's
she doesn't
offended.
skip a beat.
It's
Yeah,
no, it's like, of course, because she knows I mean, and again,
yeah,
it's like, for instance, I'm a grief counselor. It's like one of the symptoms of grief is forgetfulness.
yeah,
Why am I going to charge a client a late fee if they miss their appointment, or because forgetting is actually the symptom. So again, why is my therapist, she's never going to be mad at me for dissociating, because that is a symptom.
right.
And
Why should
what
she
it
be? Yeah,
it
yeah,
opens a door to, like, oh, because what I want to do, the reason I'm telling her this, socially embarrassing thing that I haven't been listening to you, is because I want to get better. I don't want to dissociate, and so I
right,
need her to know that I did that, and
right.
so I just
So she
wanted
can
to,
point back and be like, you
yes,
dissociated at this moment when you were talking about
yes,
this thing, and then you can work on that. I like that.
yes,
Yeah.
and also you can tell a therapist that they hurt your feelings, and you can tell a therapist that you're mad at them. Like, I'm for it all, because part of the healing is the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but permission to ghost.
All right. Elected Bag asks, any tips for dealing with CPTSD when you're living with your abusers during quarantine? Ugh, I know, I know, I know.
I already know I would have gained. I would have relapsed for sure,
Yep.
and gained probably,
Yep. I
30,
know.
40
I don't know
pounds.
what you're
Like,
saying. I'm already saying, yep. Yeah, I know it's all of it. Yep.
whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yep.
complete regression. I
Yeah.
mean, it's bad. It is bad, and I feel for um some of my clients are still in difficult situations, and the quarantine has just exacerbated the problem. It
Mm-hmm.
is, again, I just that's so much, just again, like you said before, like, get through this, like, you head down, get through it, just get to the other side with as little damage as you possibly can. Put as much self-care in your life as you can think of. Like, a great thing is, like, again, I love a CVS run. Even in these times, it's not that crowded. Wear your mask, wear your gloves, whatever, or go to CVS and just sit in the parking lot. Like, just get a break, just get your break, and then create other breaks. um in your, like take extra time in the bathroom,
Hmm.
sleep late, go to bed early, just to minimize minimize the time. But it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And you're doing like, I mean, this is like superhero stuff. Like like I said, I have my PhD in being effed up. Like you're doing like the hardest thing in the world. Like you are doing the hardest thing in the world, and it will change you. And because you asked the question, we know that you are figuring out how to survive it with the least damage for yourself. But I recommend breaks, you know books, stuff that you're not going to get in trouble for, or they can't really, just pad the time you're doing one thing or another. If you know that it's always going to be an outburst at dinner, just like, oh, I'm not feeling that great or whatever, because you're not, because you don't want to be in, because that's true. I don't ever recommend lying, because these people that raised us or whatever, they
Hmm.
kind of have our number.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not feeling well, and how that's true to me is that I won't be feeling well when you guys start yelling. And if somebody's like 3 drinks or 4 drinks into their alcoholic day, see if you can make your way out of it when it's the second and a half one or something. Like, you're a survivor. Like, everybody here right now, hearing the sound of my voice, we're all survivors, and we have done this, and we know how to do it, and you can do this. And then on the other side of this will be tons of therapy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh. Is Pastel, I want to make sure that we're answering questions. Is Pastel Candy Corn still here? Please raise your hand if you're here, because if you're not, then we will let this nice lady who has done so much for us already tonight
Oh.
go. Oh my gosh. You're so wonderful.
Oh,
Thank you
you are
so
so
much.
wonderful. I've been excited about this all day, and
I am so
I
excited that you were excited. Do you know how big of a compliment that is? Because people are like, I'm
oh, you're
nervous. I'm like,
amazing.
I don't want to intimidate anybody. I don't want you to
No,
be
you're
nervous.
amazing. Oh, you're amazing. Like, I'm excited about us staying connected. Like, this is
Oh,
awesome. I'm
oh
really
my
really
gosh.
impressed with you. Like, you truly are a mental health advocate, and I am so impressed. Like, I
Oh
am
my
so
God.
impressed.
Ah! Ah!
And
Ah!
all right, I'll stop.
Ah!
Uh,
Compliments. I don't
okay,
know.
wait, what's that one? We oh, it's number 11. Advanced,
Mhm.
enjoy compliments. So you don't have to enjoy it now, but that's the goal. So yeah, compliments.
Love it. Love it. Just so everybody knows, after this interview, we are gonna keep going. I'm just gonna need a brief break of Rooney Dooney so I can get some water. But Elizabeth, do you have any closing remarks? Here's where everybody can find you. Right?
Yep.
So let's make sure we have all those links. Go to her website, to her TikTok, to her YouTube, to her Instagram, to her whatever I posted. Go to all of those and follow her right now. I promise you won't regret a second of it. I was actually, so my partner manager on Mixer turned me on to you and was like, you should check out this person and see if you can interview them. And then I told you the story where I saw it and I was like, I will never ask them if I can interview them. And here we are, people.
Here we
Follow,
are.
follow, follow your gut.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. So, any
Um,
closing remarks that you have for us?
well, just one more thing. I have a membership site that I started,
Ooh,
and
ooh,
so
ooh,
I'm
mhm.
doing Zoom calls. So and it's in the link in the bio of my
Okay.
Instagram if somebody's interested. So just to know that that's out there. And sometimes, and once a month I'll do a free one. So that's something to know. And no, I just, again, being in the presence of people, like, this is one of the reasons I got on social media, is because I was tired of just being alone. And I knew that other people were doing it because of my job. Like, I saw them across from me doing this advanced personal growth work, and that we would not feel alone anymore doing this. We wouldn't feel crazy. We wouldn't feel like we were overthinking. We wouldn't feel bad about being highly sensitive. Being highly sensitive, saying someone's too sensitive is like saying they're too smart. I mean, it's not a thing.
Is yeah,
Um,
it's not okay.
it's not even a thing. And
Yeah.
so, and just finding these things out over and over again, and just knowing that other people are doing it, it's so, I can, again, it and even with this, this connection, I can tell that it's doing something. It's just lifting us all up and making us feel more connected. And I just, it's just incredible. And I'm so grateful. If you follow me, I'm so grateful. If you you know, ever give me a like or anything, I'm grateful for each and every one. I really appreciate it.
Okay, we found our person who was asking the last question. Thank you so much
Okay.
for the embers. Okay, all right, lightning round, lightning round.
Okay, let's go.
How can I have less anxiety during a breakup while the other person doesn't even know what they want? The breakup was on bad terms, but they said I have another chance in the future. The anxiety is horrid, and he's currently taking care of me because I'm disabled. He won't talk about any of it until I leave, which could be months, until I go to a group home. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's so hard. Okay, so the biggest red flag, there were so many, but the biggest red flag is maybe in the future. Like maybe that part of the question, like maybe we can do
Yeah,
this
they're
in the
saying
future.
maybe we can come back in the future. I say
That's
no.
that's that's a big old red flag. And it's also like, who says that? What does that even mean? Have you ever said that to, you know, people say things in relationships that it's just it's we take them as normal, but it's not normal. We never need space from anybody that we're getting along with. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, we
Mm-hmm.
don't need and so just by the fact that he said that, um I'm not going to allow myself to be around somebody who treats me like that. If I'm not good enough right now, I don't need your ass in the future. Like, I'm good. And so, and so I know that it's hard, and I know that it's sad, and I know that's scary, and I know you're in not, it's not the greatest position. But here's the thing about red flags. If you do not heed them, if you do not notice them and decide to change your behavior based on them, there's only going to be more to come. At some point, you will say, that's enough red flags. And for me, I don't even want to be a one red flag person anymore. A red flag is a namaste, namaste, bless you on your path. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. And so, but we got to find out how many red flags is too many red flags for each of us. So big old red flags. Nobody talks to, that's not a loving thing to say. You don't say that
No.
to your friend. Oh, maybe there'll be room in your life, in my life in the future. It's like, absolutely not.
I no, there's no excuse. Pastor, they're saying he needs time because my behavior was bad. No, that's the point. You don't get to have no, if you do you
And
know,
also,
I'm
I
not
don't know.
saying yeah, I guess we don't know the like direct I don't know what you did. I don't know
No,
if you like ran
of
over their
course.
cat or something. Like
Yeah.
it could have been awful things. But like I know that I have said some awful stuff to my husband, and I know that he has done some stupid stuff to me, and I know that I love him, and at the end of the day when we go to bed, we apologize, we make up, and everything
Well,
it's
that's what I
reset.
was going to say. Then if
Yeah.
I've done something bad, and also we can't determine, I mean, that person may be using that as an excuse not to be with you,
Right.
because I don't know what's
Right.
going on in their head. Like, that's, I'm making an assessment about what's going on in someone else's head. So I already know I'm unconscious. But yeah,
It's tough because
if
we
you,
don't know the situation too.
well,
Yeah,
what
it's
I was
tough.
going to say was that if you just described it, if I have done something bad and they're acting upset about it and treating me like trash or whatever, treating me, mistreating me, or being mean to me or whatever, being weird to me, saying weird things, oh, then I need to give them a real apology, which is, I'm sorry. I am
Right.
so sorry. It is
Right.
my fault. I, how can I make it right for you? I will do
Right.
whatever it takes to make it right to you. And if I have to spend the rest of my life making it right to you, then I will, like, if that's that kind of a person for you. Um, but, and so if a person is like, well, I can't forgive you or whatever, again, if somebody can't forgive me, then I have to live with the consequence that I did something and then they went away. And so maybe I don't do that in my next relationship.
I'm getting a little bit of clarification, and it's coming in through like a private message. So I'm not going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say
yeah.
too much out loud, but what
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say
yeah.
is no matter what you're doing, they're really, and this is super simplifying it because for sake of time, but like there's a lid for every pot. I'm sorry. Like unless you're murdering their cat weekly or something, like you have to be doing something truly terrible for somebody who loves you so deeply to walk away from you. You will come up with 10 of thousands of reasons why somebody shouldn't be with you, but somebody who wants to be with you just needs one.
Yes, beautiful. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Therapy.
Oh my
Work all
God,
this out
therapy.
with the therapy. Work all this out in therapy. Like it's just so helpful.
Therapy, couples therapy is
Yes.
great. I've done
All
that
of the
too.
therapy. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All
One more
right.
time. One more time. One more time. Where can they find you? So advancedbitches.com. And then yeah, so you have classes there. You have courses that you're offering.
Yeah, I'm doing like Zoom calls with particular
Zoom
topics.
calls.
So I teach in the beginning, and then we have a Q&A about what I taught. And I have my TikTok, and then I have Instagram, and that's it. No more links.
All the links are in chat, y'all. Oh, we love you
Thank you
so much. We're
guys.
gonna let Elizabeth go. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. I will be right back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.